This is Margaret Ann Windsor. That's my real name. I have to go by Peggy Ann Dempsey. Childers, I married a Childers. I was kidnapped in 41 from Buckingham Palace and given the name of a twin. Peggy and Carl was the other twin. Both were dead. I was dropped off in Moulton, Alabama, kidnapped from Buckingham Palace, in case I didn't say that. I've done a lot of videos, and I don't know that it does any good if anybody's even listening or watching them. I wrote a medical malpractice book in 77, 78 about chips being placed in heart bypasses, root canals. Nowadays, it's so advanced you don't need any of that, and it's so widely used, and how do you prove it? Anyway, I'll get lost now. I want to make in what I'm trying to say, and I'm just going to try to make it short. I wrote the book. It's called MD: A License to Kill. It's about Larry McDonald, who was a U.S. congressman from Atlanta, and he was a urologist at Piedmont Hospital. It's also where that Piedmont that went down in Cedartown was taken to. It had a lot of, it was from Huntsville, by the way, Alabama. NASA had a lot of people aboard, and there's a lot to what really happened there. And I wrote about the murders of Warren and Rosina Matthews, who were forensic pathologists, and about the, well, persons that were supposed to have killed her. They were programmed, and one of them, Deborah Kidd, was even hypnotized. So anyway, this all went on there, and Larry Flint was shot, and Lawrence Fuller, the man that shot him, March the 6th of March the 6th of 78, while I was doing the book Living at Moonraker. He was programmed to shoot him and kill his attorney. I was flown out during the campaign to replace Larry McDonald, who I had written about, and got a letter from the U.S. Attorney June the 23rd of 79, and April Fool Day of 80, I was still full and free. So this was, even in here, Larry Flint says that I know who was responsible for his shooting. Anyway, they've done a lot to Larry Flint, and he'd be made out to be the bad guy. You should see and walk in my shoes and find out who some of the really, really bad people are. But these are some of the mind controls murders. You can modify behavior, and this is what I was writing about, and programming people. And believe you me, since 77, 78, it's so advanced, but this has been going on in the early, if not, well, by the early 30s. I'm talking about 30s. The Tesla information was stolen, and the FBI ended up with it. So you can place people under mind control, and they don't even know it. You take away every right they have to even think or be responsible for their own actions. Their actions become someone else's. Anyway, the Grand Theater, I'm just going to scan this. The Grand Theater with Holmes. This is the Giffords, Mark and Scott, the astronaut twins, and Mark was her husband, and this was the Tucson shootings. And this was Fort Hood, and he was a psychiatrist, and he was born here in Vinton, Roanoke, where I'm at, and he finished college at Blacksburg, Virginia Tech, where the 33 murders happened. And these are mind control, and there's a bunch of others that they don't speak of either that's connected to mind control at Virginia Tech and at University of Virginia in Charlottesville. Now then, the 33 shootings happened on April 16th of '07. Now then, and the young man ended up killing himself, and he was called, I forgot the words that were used for him. And believe me, everybody around here knows that the media is controlled by the Rockefellers and Rothschilds. They're not going to tell it because I was kidnapped. This is my dad, Edward VIII, and he did not marry this woman. This is a double. All of it lies. And this is my uncle, George VI, illegal, with Roosevelt in 39, planning my kidnapping in 41. I was born in 39. And this is Caroline Kennedy with Obama, who became ambassador to Japan. Her grandfather, Joe, was appointed by Roosevelt, and he helped my uncle and the Rothschilds, Rockefellers. I guess the good word I'm finding out is Freemasons. The Scottish Rites. Heaven help, I love people from Scotland. I mean, where's this all leading? Part of the Windsors have become, they weren't then, my father wasn't, and before that, my family wasn't. They were decent people. Before this guy and his brood got in. By the way, the baby was named after this illegal George VI. And here's him with William illegal, and everybody thinks this is pretty. They've spent my money, and they're traitors to the British. This is the illegal monarch with a back turned there. So I'm going to stop with that. And this I did want to say. This man is a hero, NASA informant. When I got the letter from the U.S. Attorney, FBI, I was down at their offices and all that, in 79, and I thought it was all due to the book I'd written, but I come to find out it's my kidnapping. He says, I have done nothing wrong. And then this whole thing, on a daily basis, I've had every law broken, tortured. My sons and I, Mark and Scott, their heirs after me, taken from my family. And I saw in 2020, they were talking about the biggest kidnapping since the Lindbergh. Well, that's because they haven't told about me. I should think that the real monarch, Victoria II, being kidnapped back in 41 would have made top headlines, don't you? Except for the people that control the media and were behind the kidnapping and the murder of Tsar Nicholas and his family. And yes, Anastasia was killed next door in Charlottesville, murdered by the mental health system, Blue Ridge, and she was really Anastasia, the Tsar's daughter, after she'd gone off through all the other, right? And this is Timothy McVeigh, who died for the bombing Oklahoma City, and he tried to tell everybody that the military put chips up him. And it was mind control. So the point that I wanted to make now is it's been a long, long time back. I'm going to go back to when I got, my husband he worked for the CIA. I don't know really all he did. I didn't know it until a little later. But he introduced me to, I guess I can say this, Carnwright, Marshall Carnwright. I thought, like everybody else did, he had a security agency, a detective, and I met him, and I thought his name was Marshall Carnwright, like yours might be Tom Sawyer, okay? But later, after the Wayne Williams, that was part of the mind control, too, murders, and it wasn't because they were black children, it was the color and the patterns that all of it was involved in. But anyway, I had antifreeze put in me on April the 1st of 80, and I was made penniless, and my mind, my brain was baked. I'd even worked for the district attorney, Fred Simpson, after then. Try doing that when you're trying to walk and keep your fingers where you can type and not get locked up